That's a toucan eating papayas. This is a Pachira. Pachira Aquatica is pretty well known. Big brown pods, brown seeds inside that are edible, even raw. And roasted, they're really good, oily and a good nut. This is a little different species. This is from coastal, from the Choco bioregion. A little bigger pod, a little bigger seeds, also very tasty. What they say, there seems to be some doubt about the common species Pachira aquatica, about whether it's edible. Even though, you know, we've eaten them raw and toasted and they seem fine. This species in coastal Ecuador, before they eat them, they take out the germ. So maybe there's something to that, you know. Maybe the germ has something you're not supposed to eat. Maybe it's just bitter, maybe there's nothing to it, but I don't know. So these are big showy flowers, huh? It's a beautiful little native palm. You can actually eat both the fruit and the seed is soft enough so you can just crunch it and eat it. It's an Aifanes, like corozo. Aifanes aculeata is an edible seed and edible fruit from the Americas. Much bigger than this. They're all thorny for sure. That's an ornamental. Polycuria, coffee family. They're bushes. Attract really a lot of butterflies, and when they're in fruit they attract birds, even toucans. That's what the whole bush looks like. A lot of different species. This one's from the Amazon. This one is local from our area. And those are the fruits.
Is this edible?
No, they're not edible. Local anthurium. Just growing in the forest.
Is there a flower? Anthurium type
Yeah.
flower?
Yeah. Well, maybe not in the picture, but it makes flowers for sure. People know what family that is?
Yeah.
It's a local passiflora. Local passion fruit. Very good, very pretty, huh? So the invasives here, I guess I heard they aren't much of a problem anymore, but when I was here years ago, people talked about a couple different passifloras that were invasives. Mollissima and Ligularis, more up in the highlands. But people said they were covering up whole areas. And I understand they brought that under control with some kind of biological control. Both of those species are important commercial crops in South America. In the highlands, not in the lowlands, but they're good fruits. Passiflora. There are 100 species of wild passifloras in Ecuador.
Wow.
There's a lot of them. And most of them are good to eat, and they're all beautiful. Anybody guess what family that is? Unless you know the species, know the plant, you'd never guess. It's a passion fruit. It is a tree or a bush. You know, most of them are vines, but not all of them. There's actually fair-sized trees too, up in cooler higher elevations. This one's on our farm, native. It's a beautiful, beautiful big leaves. The flower for a passiflora, it's not that special. The fruit is barely edible. But the plant is really beautiful. And unusual, obviously.
What's it called?
Passiflora macrophylla, big leaf.
Okay.
There's also a Passiflora arborea, tree passion fruit, and other species too. There are highlands. None of them are very exciting to eat though. The people know guaraná. It's a stimulant drink from Brazil. Paulínia has a lot of caffeine. They make soft drinks out of it in Brazil. And traditionally, you get it from the seed, and you grate the seed with the tongue of a fish, special fish that swims around in the Amazon River.
Whoa.
I suspect not many people do it that way anymore. But it is very common all over Brazil. And it's a stimulant, it's a caffeine drink, like they're so popular these days. And this is not it. This is the Ecuadorian relative, which is also a stimulant drink. Paulinia yoko. This one they don't use the seed, they use the root and the bark. But very common. You know, the indigenous people in the upper Ecuadorian Amazon drink this every day, they say. This is another artocarpus, like the meringue. This is a pedali. When it ripens, it's orange, kind of looks like a big rambutan. But it tastes like a meringue. Same way you just break it open and eat the fruit sections. Huge tree. Huge, huge tree. Which is, of course, is not an advantage for fruits. This is a Pentagonia from the farm. It says edible fruits, but it's ornamental often too. This is another one. If you don't know the species, you'd never guess the family. It's a cactus. And besides having leaves, the whole plant has leaves. There's leaves sticking out of the fruits. You see? They fall off when they're fully ripe. So those fruits are about this big and they're sour and they're okay. They're edible. It's a vine, a clambering vine. It has thorns to remind you that it's a cactus. And the leaves are edible too. Kind of mucilaginous, but edible.
What's it called?
Pereschia is the genus. Pereschia. Pereschia culeata. Actually, what I've also read is they use it as a rootstock to graft other cacti. It's a little hard to picture a saguaro cactus grafted onto this thing. Pitangatuba from Brazil. It's a Myrtaceae guayaba relative. Very aromatic, bit sour, really pretty. You know, for juice and jam more, or people who really like sour fruits.
Is that also called the Brazilian cherry?
No, this is different. Pitangatuba is the Brazilian name. This is from Australia. It's a Podocarpus. Podocarpus, you see them here in Australia. Don't usually have edible fruits. They're just wood trees. This one has edible fruit. And it's kind of like a cashew in that the seed is the green part. And the edible part is the pedicel, the part that attaches the seed to the stem, which is a swollen pedicel, and that red part is edible. Pretty weird taste. Not a common commercial fruit in Australia or anything.
What did you call that?
Bush fruit. Podocarpus is the genus.
What's the species?
I'm not sure. I don't remember. Elatus maybe, but I'm not really sure. But I can look it up, maybe.
Any seeds for those?
Yeah, there's a close-up of one.
Is that one fruit? Seeds out of one fruit?
Yes. Well, yes, I think you'd call it one fruit with 3 seeds.
Yeah.
That's an ornamental.
Whoa.
Great big leaves and long tubular flowers. There's a hawk moth that has a tongue that goes all the way down to pollinator.
Wow.
Posocaria. There's an edible Posocaria that some people have, latifolia, which has these pretty white flowers, but not as big and beautiful as this one. That's the Posocaria again. Also has seeds that, the seeds are kind of off-white. They look like quartz stones or something like that. They look really unique.
How long to maturity? How long to fruiting if you've got a seed?
5 years maybe? I'm not really sure. But they're beautiful just when they're growing too, those great big leaves. Here's the relative of lucma, which somebody asked me about. It's a puteria. And it has, like Canistel and Lucma, it has sweet, dry pulp. And it's good. A little dry to eat out of hand, but good to prepare stuff with. And big. Really big. And a lot of pulp. You know, huge seeds, but still plenty of pulp. This is from northwest Ecuador.
I'm sorry, is it like egg fruit?
Yes, it's like egg fruit. Yeah.
What's the name on that one?
Puteria, I think it's Puteria multiflora.
Oh,
Remember we saw that one yesterday
Yeah.
in your place? I'm not sure that it's for sure a Puteria. This is another Puteria. There's tons of good Puterias in Ecuador. A friend took this actually. These are a couple indigenous kids. One of them is carrying a blowgun, you may be able to see. And they're eating the fruit from this tree, which is a big fruit, which I'm told is very tasty. So I have some upcoming plants of it. This is Peter Solaris in Australia. And I don't know if people have heard of planting stuff on trellises. All the rage in Australia and even in temperate fruits also in the US. What they're doing is making these posts in the ground, you know, end posts to anchor them, posts in the ground,